There was a time in Britain when you could walk into almost any working-class home, look at the bathroom shelf, and instantly recognize the same bottles lined up in a row. They were bold, inexpensive, and carried the unmistakable scent of 1970s masculinity. This was long before men's grooming turned into a world of endless choices. Back then, dads didn't spend time comparing brands or testing fragrances. They used whatever came from the local chemist, whatever appeared in a Christmas gift set, or whatever they saw advertised on TV during Saturday nights. Those bottles came to define the smell of an entire generation. Sitting proudly at the top of that shelf was Brut 33, the aftershave most closely linked to the memory of the classic 70s dad. It came in a thick green glass bottle with a silver cap, giving off an image of strength and confidence. Brut's famous slogan, "Splash it all over," was etched into everyone's memory thanks to boxer Henry Cooper, who appeared in countless ads smiling as he drenched himself in it. The scent was strong, musky, and impossible to miss. On a Friday night, if you stepped into a crowded pub, the air would be thick with cigarette smoke, the smell of warm beer, and that heavy fog of Brut. Many children still remember that green bottle standing proudly above the sink, its cap clicking shut with a sharp twist, and the scent clinging to their dad's collar as he kissed them goodnight. At just over £1 a bottle in the mid-70s, it was cheap enough for everyone to afford, yet memorable enough to become a cultural joke for years afterward. If Brut was bold and brash, Old Spice was calm, classic, and respectable. First introduced in Britain decades earlier, by the 1970s, Old Spice had become the safe and trusted choice, the one bought year after year, often neatly packed in a Woolworths box at Christmas. Its white bottle, marked with a sailing ship, carried a warm, spicy scent that sat somewhere between cinnamon and soap. It was the aftershave of fathers who didn't follow trends but valued tradition. For many kids, giving their dad an Old Spice gift set, sometimes with matching soap or talc, became a yearly ritual. It wasn't flashy, but it was dependable, and in those days dependability was its own kind of masculinity. Then came High Karate, the joker of the aftershave aisle. Its adverts promised such irresistible charm that every box came with a playful self-defense leaflet, supposedly teaching men how to fend off women drawn to the scent. The commercials were cheeky, exaggerated, and impossible to forget. In truth, the fragrance was sharp and soapy, but teenage boys buying their first aftershave swore by it. Mothers grumbled that it clung to school blazers for days, but lads wore it proudly, convinced it made them daring and confident. Priced at under £1 a bottle, High Karate was easily affordable and became a rite of passage for many. Few products captured the humor and ridiculous charm of 1970s advertising quite like it. Blue Stratus, however, stood apart from the rest. Its cobalt blue bottle looked sleek and modern, and its crisp, fresh scent felt like a breath of new air after the heavy, musky fragrances that came before. The adverts showed jets soaring across open skies, promising freedom and sophistication. For younger dads and older sons, Blue Stratus was a statement that they were keeping up with the times, stylish, confident, and modern, yet still within reach, usually just under £2 at Boots or the local chemist. Compared to the Old Spice their fathers wore, this was something new, proof that masculinity could smell cleaner and fresher. And then there was Tobacco Original, imported from Germany, packaged in a simple white bottle with bold black lettering. Its spicy, woody scent carried a touch of continental class, a whiff of Europe in the heart of Britain. For families who had never traveled abroad, tobacco felt like a small luxury, a foreign treasure, sitting quietly in the corner of the bathroom. Often it arrived as a Father's Day or birthday gift, and would stay unopened for months, saved only for special occasions. When it was used, though, the difference was clear. Tobacco was stronger, richer, and far more distinctive than the usual safe British choice. It was the aftershave for the dad who liked to think of himself as a little different. These 5 bottles alone could define an entire decade. Brut for the bold, Old Spice for the steady, High Karate for the cheeky, Blue Stratus for the modern, and Tobacco for the worldly. They were as much a part of 1970s Britain as Ford Cortinas in the driveway, Watney's Red Barrel in the fridge, and Embassy cigarettes on the table. But they weren't the full story. because beyond these big names came another wave of scents, the square black bottles that looked rugged, the icy blue splashes that promised coolness, and even the quirky decanters shaped like cars or guns, each one carrying its own set of memories. If Brut and Old Spice were the heavyweights, then Denim was the one that tried to look dangerous. Sold in its square black bottle with bold white lettering, it was marketed as tough, confident, and unapologetically masculine. The adverts showed men walking down the street in denim shirts, women turning their heads as if hypnotized. The scent itself was musky and heavy, not far from Brut, but wrapped in darker packaging that made it seem bolder. For dads heading out to the pub or the working men's club, Denim was the go-to scent when they wanted to feel strong and fearless. Mothers might roll their eyes as the smell filled the hallway, but to men who paid £1.75 for it at the chemist, Denim was a bargain bottle of confidence. Then came Aqua Velva, that splash of bright blue liquid glowing under the bathroom light. Imported from America, it cost a bit more, but the feeling it gave was unforgettable. Splashing it on after a shave delivered a sharp menthol sting that made men wince, laugh and mutter under their breath. The adverts promised ice blue cool, and for many men living in stuffy, semi-detached houses, it truly delivered, a refreshing jolt that felt both modern and exotic. It wasn't as common as Brut, but when a dad wore it, everyone noticed. Even decades later, people still recall that chill of freshness, sharper than any winter breeze outside. Not every aftershave, however, was about toughness or coolness. Some carried a sense of tradition. Yardley Gold, with its long British heritage dating back to the 18th century, had a smooth, slightly floral scent, gentler than the louder splashes of the time. At just over £2 in Boots, it was classy yet affordable, made for the man who ironed his shirt even on Sundays and liked things neat and proper. It wasn't about turning heads but about being dependable. Children remember its soft scent in the air as their dad adjusted his tie before church, a fragrance that spoke more of responsibility than rebellion. On the other end of the scale were the Arvan novelty bottles, sold door to door and shaped like cars, chess pieces, guns or animals. Inside was usually wild country, but the real charm was the bottle itself. Lining bathroom shelves across Britain, they looked like ornaments more than toiletries. Many never even opened. At under £1 they made fun and affordable gifts, and families often kept the empty bottles for years. Kids would play with them, pretending they were toys once the last drop was gone. If Brut was about manliness and Old Spice about tradition, then Arvan was about humor and a touch of fun in homes where money was tight, but imagination wasn't. Finally there was Woods of Windsor, the posher choice. This wasn't something stacked high in Woolworths or sold door to door. Coming from a centuries-old apothecary in Windsor, it carried a refined, elegant air. Its scent was floral and woody, far more sophisticated than the rest. A bottle cost around £3 or £4, nearly double the price of the working-class favorites, and it wasn't common. You'd spot it in middle-class bathrooms, or as a thoughtful gift from a wife who wanted her husband to smell more distinguished. For those who wore it, it was a matter of pride, a sign of quiet aspiration. Together, these bottles completed the portrait of British dads in the 1970s, each fragrance telling its own story of character, class and charm. Denim was for the men who wanted to look tough, Aqua Velva for those who liked to feel sharp and cool, Yardley for the respectable, Avon for the playful, and Woods of Windsor for the aspirational. Each carried its own story, yet together they captured a time when aftershave wasn't about endless options, but about identity, bottled neatly on a bathroom shelf. Today most of those names have faded into memory. Some still survive in modern packaging, but the world of men's fragrances has since transformed into shelves of designer bottles, with sky-high prices. Still, for those who lived through it, the scent of Brut, Old Spice or High Karate can instantly bring back memories as vivid as the clink of pint glasses in a smoky pub, or the rumble of a Cortina engine on a Saturday afternoon drive. These fragrances weren't just aftershaves, they were part of daily life, splashed on before work, before a night at the pub, or before a kiss goodnight, and for many, just one whiff today is enough to carry them straight back to the heart of 1970s Britain.